On the president's meeting this evening with the senators, can you give us a sense of how he views that meeting? Is it going to be negotiating? Is he going to be prepared to counter anything the Republicans might offer? Or is it just a session where, they ask to meet with the president and he's simply giving them an opportunity to voice their concerns?
Well, the president has been clear since long before he came into office that he's open to engaging with both Democrats and Republicans in Congress about their ideas. And this is an example of doing exactly that. So as we said in our statement last night, it's an exchange of ideas, an opportunity to do that. This group obviously sent a letter with some outlines, some top lines of their concerns and their priorities, and he's happy to have a conversation with them. What this meeting is not is a forum for the president to make or accept an offer. So I think that's important to convey to all of you. And his view, it remains what was stated in the statement last night, but also what he said on Friday, which is that the risk is not that it is too big, this package, the risk is that it is too small. And that remains his view, and it's one he'll certainly express today. Go ahead, Darlene.
So what would you say is more important to the president at this point on this first legislative test? Is it going big or going bipartisan? It seems like you can't have both.
Well, I think the president believes we can, and there is historic evidence that it is possible to take a number of paths, including through reconciliation, if that's the path that is pursued, and for the vote to be bipartisan. But it's important to him that he hears this group out on their concerns, on their ideas. He's always open to making this package stronger. And he also, as was noted in our statement last night, remains in close touch with Speaker Pelosi, with Leader Schumer, and he will continue that engagement throughout the day and in the days ahead.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that President Biden's proposed COVID relief package is designed to be commensurate with the crises. This group of 10 Senate Republicans, what they're offering, as you know, is more than a third less. The top line number, the $600 billion, is more than a third less of that $1.9 trillion that President Biden says he wants. Given that, do you see that as a serious attempt at compromise on their part?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to give more comment on their proposal. I think they put their ideas forward. That's how the president sees it. He felt it was, an effort to engage on a bipartisan basis, and that's why he invited them to the White House today. But his view is that the size of the package needs to be commensurate with the crises we're facing, the dual crises we're facing, hence why he proposed a package that's $1.9 trillion.
Does the president plan to invite Democrats into the Oval to have these similar conversations?
Well, I can promise you we're less than 2 weeks in. There will be many Democrats in the Oval Office, and I'm sure this is just the part of our ongoing effort to engage directly. Go ahead.
I have a follow-up to Amish's great question about reconciliation, and it's that the Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell back in 2017 famously said, winners make policy, losers go home. Given that, why shouldn't President Biden be as tactically ruthless as Republicans have been in pushing priorities that he champions?
Well, I think the president has been clear that he is encouraged by the pace and the rapid pace, I should say, that Speaker Pelosi and Senator Schumer are moving this package forward at. At the same time, as you know, there is time because this process can take a bit to make changes as needed. And he wants to be a part of those conversations. Hence, he invited Republicans to do that exactly here today. I can't speak to Senator McConnell's role or commitment or point of view or anything. He's certainly not asking me to be a spokesperson, Lord knows. But, President Biden ran on a commitment of course, unifying the country, but also of hearing from all sides and engaging and having an opportunity to have discussions. And today is part of doing that.
And quickly, can I circle back, to use that phrase, to a question I asked during the transition?
Anyone can steal it. Just means you have to get back.
So I'll circle back to this. Has the White House made a determination about whether it will continue to extend the privilege of intelligence briefings to former President Trump, given the concerns among some Democrats that he'll either misuse it or leverage it to enrich himself?
Mm-hmm. This is a good question. I've raised it with our intelligence teams, or our national security team, I should say. It's something, obviously, that's under review, but there was not a conclusion last I asked them about it, but I'm happy to follow up on it and see if there's more to share. Go ahead in the back.
Right, thank you, Jan. Last Friday, a few dozen men from the white supremacist group Patriot Front were filmed marching on the National Mall toward the Capitol. What is the administration's latest threat assessment on white supremacist groups like this coming to Washington? Is the threat seen as increasing?
Well, I think the fact that there was a tasking done through our national security team on domestic violent extremism that is going to review all activity that could pose a threat, including the activities of white supremacists, tells you what a priority is and tells you that we believe that there is more that needs to be done and a greater assessment. So that review is ongoing. As soon as it's concluded, I'm sure we'll have more to share with all of you about our view at this point in time. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. On just a bit of a housekeeping matter, since the Senate delayed its confirmation vote on Alejandro Mayorkas, does that mean that the immigration rollout that you guys have linked to that confirmation is going to be pushed back as well?
Well, we are certainly hopeful he will be confirmed tomorrow, and we have every intention of moving forward tomorrow with the immigration executive actions that we have discussed in here a bit. Go ahead in the back.
Thank you. Last week, a statue of Mahatma Gandhi was desecrated, vandalized in the city of Davis in California. There is outrage among the Indian Americans, others followers of Gandhi in this country. Does the president knows about it? Does he have any thought? And this for the third time this has happened in this country in last 1 year. Last 2 times it happened in the city itself in Washington, D.C.
Well, we certainly would have concern about the desecration of monuments of Gandhi, and that's certainly what we would express. Were you sorry, what was the last part of the question you were asking?
Does the president knows about it, and what are his thoughts on it?
If there's more to share on the president's point of view on it, I'm happy to get back to you on that, but certainly we would, condemn that desecration and watch it closely.
Follow up on Burma, logistic question. Do you recognize the new army leadership in Burma, or you don't recognize that the legitimate government in Burma?
Well, I think our statement makes clear what our view is on the events of the last few days and where we stand with the declared new government.
As you know, President Trump has been barred from a lot of social media sites. Just curious whether you think his absence has made your job any easier or the White House's job any easier as it kind of goes forward on these COVID negotiations.
In what way?
He created a lot of noise, right? He would have certain gravitational pull with Republicans who may be more inclined to take a harder position. Wonder if that's been anything that you guys have thought about or kind of considered.
This may be hard to believe. We don't spend a lot of time talking about or thinking about President Trump here. Former President Trump, to be very clear. I think that's a question that's probably more appropriate for Republican members who are looking for ways to support a bipartisan package and whether that gives them space. But I can't say we miss him on Twitter.
Does President Biden support the continuing ban of President Trump on their sites?
I think that's a decision made by Twitter. We've certainly spoken to, and he's spoken to, the need for social media platforms to continue to take steps to reduce hate speech, but we don't have more for you on it than that.
Particular way that the president is trying to keep touch with basic everyday Americans, such as getting a sampling of letters that are sent to him, as some past presidents have done, especially as it relates to the pandemic?
That's such a good question. He is looking to remain engaged. It's hard when we haven't done any travel yet, and we're certainly hoping to do that at some point in time to engage with Americans more directly. I don't have anything specific. He does receive, of course, letters. It takes some time for them to come in. As you know, they kind of go through a process once they arrive at the White House. That's something he's eager to have access to. Obviously, there's also many ways to provide feedback or input to the White House, which he's eager to receive too. But let me see if I can get more detail for you on that. Go ahead, Darlene.
Another housekeeping question. Do you know if all 10 senators are coming to the meeting this evening?
It's a great question.
They're all invited, but are they all coming?
I don't have a official manifest, but we will venture to circle back with all of you on that after the briefing.
And if I can ask another one on Burma, the president's statement that just came out, he's calling on the international community to come together in one voice to press the Burmese military to reverse what they've done. But do the events at the Capitol on January 6th make it harder for the United States to be part of this international community that he's calling on?
Look, I think President Biden, I don't think the international community sees President Biden as a root of the events on January 6th, and certainly he has made every effort through conversations directly with partners and allies, through how he has spoken publicly in disgust about the events on January 6th, and through his own commitment to restoring rule of law, democracy here in the United States. The United States remains a country in the world that is looked to for leadership, and it's going to take some time, but he's certainly committed to doing that.
Thank you.